Hi friends, welcome back to Sheena's Homestead. If you're new here, I'm Sheena and this is my homestead. Today I want to show you how to make pickled red onions. These are absolutely fantastic. Usually when it comes to trying new things, I am an absolute chicken. But my friend was telling me about these and I've heard so much about them in cooking shows and things like that. I thought I just have to try them. So finally I made a batch for ourselves and Rob and I are absolutely obsessed. And actually we have 2 out of the 4 kids who really love them too. So that's pretty much a win. So today I am making these pickled red onions with things from my own garden, but you can easily make it with things that you buy from the grocery store. All you need is red onions, some fresh dill, garlic cloves, and then for your pickling process you want vinegar, and it has to be vinegar that has at least 5% acidity. And last but not least, some salt. So we are going to put all of this together. Now I mentioned you can make this 2 ways. You can make them and just pop them right in the refrigerator as is. They last quite a long time like this. Or if you have a large harvest like this, you can water back can them so that you have them shelf stable for all winter long. So let's get started. Come on! For this project in particular, I have a mandolin. This was a really useful tool for me. Just got it on Amazon. It's super easy, super quick to use, and we sliced all of these red onions up nice and thin. So the first thing that we're going to do before you even begin this process, I have already pre-prepped my jars. So as you can see, I have this large stock pot in the back, and it has my mason jars that I am going to fill with our pickled recipe. So you want to make sure that that gets nice and warm. Everything has been washed out. Everything is super clean and sterilized. When we are canning something for long-term storage, we just want to make sure that it's all very, very sterile, because obviously we don't want bacteria or anything else to grow in the process of our long-term storage. Okay, so now we're going to make our brine. Our brine is the liquid that is in between all of our onions. So I'm going to double this recipe so that I can at least fill 3 jars. I may end up making some more brine if I have leftover onions, but we'll see how far we get. So first of all, we are going to pour 11 cups of vinegar into this pot. Okay, and then you want to add 2 cups of water. The traditional recipe calls for sugar, and we don't like to use a lot of sugar in our house. So we're gonna end up using natural honey from our neighbor's beehive. Super amazing stuff. So if you have access to raw honey, I would highly suggest that you substitute it for the sugar. And then last, but definitely not least, we have 4 teaspoons of salt. 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so we're going to get this on the stove and bring it to a boil. So while our brine is heating up to a boil, I'm going to get started on stuffing our jars with the red onions. So another thing we're going to need is our dill and our garlic. Now when it comes to the dill, I just use the whole stalk. You know, usually when you're cooking, you kind of pull all of those pieces off. But for this recipe, I just put the whole thing in. So I'm gonna start by getting a piece of dill down in each one and a clove of garlic. That way we mix up those flavors. Okay, so you want to just make sure that you really stuff these down in there, because believe me, you're going to be really sad when that jar is empty. So make sure it's super full. So we're just going to top this off with another piece of dill and and another clove of garlic. And then we're going to move to our next one. Okay, so we've got our jars completely filled. We put the extra pieces of garlic right on top. You can do that to taste, but I would say at least 3 cloves minimum. And then we spruced up our jars with some dill as well. You want to make sure that you leave at least a 1/2 inch of head space, and you want to push your onions down as far as they can go. You don't want any of it to be sticking up above the liquid at any point in time. So let's head over and get our brine. I almost forgot our honey. You have to add the honey right on top. So I take about a tablespoon to start. And it's good to do this before you pour in your brine, because the brine will melt the honey and push it on down into the rest of the jar. It's just so beautiful, isn't it? And now we can pour our brine. It's very important for us to get the air bubbles out of this jar. So I'm using the wood end, but I also have a spatula end that lets me get down deeper. You just want to push it around so that we release the bubbles. So you can see how far down the liquid went after we released the bubbles. So what we want to do is use the flat end of this to push our onions down as far as we can, because we don't want them above water. And then we're going to pour more brine, but we don't want to pour it too high. We want it to be at least a 1/2 inch head space. So we're going to do that on our next one here. Just trying to get those air bubbles out. You can see them float to the top as I move things around. Go ahead and do it on this one too. If we leave air bubbles in it, that is a chance for bacteria to grow. That is not what we want when we are canning and preserving our food. Then go ahead and top off. This one we're going to push all the onions down again as far as they can go. The next important step is to have a little washcloth or a paper towel with vinegar on it. And we take it and wipe down the rim of all of your glasses. This way we get a proper seal when we're water bathing. If by chance any of the honey got on the edge of this glass, it'll prevent a seal from occurring, which definitely something we don't want. You'd have to throw away everything in the jar if you didn't get a proper seal. So we do that, and then we put our lids on top. Just like that. So then we just want to tighten them to finger tight. You don't, it would help if we put that on. You don't want these to be too tight. We just are looking for as tight as our hand with just our fingers will make it. All right, so now we are going to put these in our water bath canner. So I'm gonna just top this off with a little bit extra water because we want these jars to be completely submerged by at least an inch. And we are going to let this come to a full boil for 15 minutes. All right, this has been boiling for 15 minutes. So we're just gonna take the heat down and the lid off. We're gonna let it cool just a bit. I'm going to use these to pull them out. We should hear the lids pop. Well, my friends, thank you so much for coming along with me today. We made pickled red onions together, and these went into a water bath canner, so they are shelf stable for a long time to come. I just want to show you what it looks like when all is said and done. These are the ones that I currently have in the refrigerator. The color is so beautiful. They're perfect for gifting. Like I said, I gifted some to my mom and she's already got an order in for another set. It's really great if you let them at least sit in the vinegar for 2 weeks. You can eat them before, but they just get better and better the longer that they sit. So make sure you give them a little bit of time before you crack open a jar and try them. Well, I hope you enjoyed this episode. It was a little something different from me, and I hope it's useful for you. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I can't wait to see you next time with all the fun things that we do on Sheena's Homestead. Good night and goodbye, friends.